Configuring your Waggle Pro Commander or Pro I/O device to communicate with a Mac or PC computer requires only a few simple steps. In this example, we'll be looking at Windows 8.1 and Waggle Hardware Configurator 1.09. With this setup, we'd be able to detect and configure any Waggle device from the Pro Commander all the way through the Pro Commander LX and including legacy devices such as the WEMC1. The first thing we'll want to do is ensure that our IP and subnet are in the same range as our Pro Commander or Pro I/O device. The easiest way to do this is to go to your Start menu and your Control Panel. Within Control Panel, we'll select Network and Sharing Center. Within the Network and Sharing Center, we can see any wireless or wired communication device connected to our computer. In this example, we've eliminated all but the Ethernet jack that's physically connected to our Pro Commander device. I'll click on this and select Properties. Scrolling to the bottom entry on most computers will provide you with Internet Protocol version 4, where we'll select Properties again. Within this window, we must select and specify a specific IP address that is within the range but not the same as our Pro Commander or Pro I/O device. The Pro Commander that we will be connecting is 10.00.101. Therefore, I'll need to connect 10.00.either 110 or 120, 150, anything within the first three numbers being the same and the last three numbers being different will work. In most cases, Windows will automatically fill in the subnet information, but as you can see, the first three numbers would be 255 to mean wide open, or 0 to be specific. Once this is correct, I'll hit OK, and close, and finally close and shrink my Network Sharing Center. The last step that's required before launching the Waggle Hardware Configurator is to ensure that my Windows firewall is turned off for private networks. I'll do this by pressing the Start button and going back to Control Panel. Within Control Panel, one of my categories will be Windows Firewall. Please note that in a corporate environment, some of these settings may be pushed down through group policy. Contact your network administrator if this is the case. Assuming this is your personal computer, you are able to turn off Windows Firewall for any or all of the connections. For Venue Magic, Conductor Pro, and the Waggle Hardware Configurator, turning off only the private network setting firewall is required. If you have continued issues, you may need to turn off both in some cases. As long as private network is red for not connected, you won't have an issue using the scan tool we'll see here in a moment. Now you're ready to launch the Waggle Hardware Configurator. You can download the Waggle Hardware Configurator from faq.waggle.support. Upon double-click, you'll be greeted by this home screen. You'll notice that there are connection paths to use scan network, scan serial or USB, or to specify an IP address specifically. As mentioned, assuming the Windows firewall is turned off, and routers and network appliances between the Pro Commander and computer allow port forwarding, you will see the Pro Commander or Pro I/O device and any device on your network that is Waggle compatible within this window. Should you not see this, please visit our other tutorials regarding serial USB connection as well as specified IP. Quickly, we can also try 10.00.101 as a direct IP connection. You'll notice that it still detects the Pro Commander instantaneously and allows us to open the window in the same fashion. For most users, once again, scanning using the network connection will suffice. Each Pro Commander or Pro I/O device has its own specific landing window once detected. Most look the same and share several of the first connection headings. One thing we recommend for new connections and new computers is to instantly hit the Info button. By pressing the Info button, the Pro Commander or Pro I/O device will give you a report of what is the status on the unit. Now that we're sure our Pro Commander 2 is communicating with the PC device we are connected to, let's have a look around the tabs that are available. The first one we're brought to is the Hardware and Network tab. Within this window, we're able to manually change the IP address of the unit, as well as the subnet mask of the unit. Please note that on ProCommander 2, ProCommander PHX, ProCommander LTC, and the ProCommander LX, you are able to change any of these settings from the front panel joystick as well. This may make it easier if you are connecting for the first time to your unit and do not want to follow the steps that we previously outlined for setting your computer's IP address. Either will work as long as the range is the same, with the exception of these last three numbers. Once we have the IP address established and set, we'll want to go down and check the software version of the actual device. We can do this by verifying the latest version at faq.waggle.support. I did find that version 2.00 is the latest for the ProCommander 2. I've opened up this file folder and noticed that there are several files, drivers, as well as a copy of the latest Waggle hardware configurator included. Briefly looking at this, the one thing you may want to verify each time you update is our version.txt note log. Within here, you can see both fixes and new functions for the particular device and firmware version you will be upgrading to. Once I verify that this will not have a negative impact on my show or project, the next thing I'd like to do is actually perform this network firmware upgrade. I'll do this by selecting the Firmware Update button within the ProCommander's main landing tab, the Hardware Network. Selecting Firmware Update prompts me to select a file to provide the update. I'll navigate to the file folder I just downloaded and select ProCommander 2 version 2.00.hex. Please note that we do try to filter any unwanted files that are not compatible with the unit you are upgrading. Please double check this as the upgrade is at your own risk. Once I hit open, I'll verify once more that my ProCommander 2 firmware version is correct for the unit I'm upgrading, and select Begin Update. During this period of time, it will negotiate with the ProCommander 2 or ProIO device to attempt first a TCP network connection. This TCP network connection can vary based on your hardware device and the speed of your network adapter. Should you fail at any time during the update as shown, please click on the Restart button to re-establish the network connection. And upon a successful upgrade, I will be given this message and click OK. The unit will reboot, but please note that other than hitting Info, you will not refresh this software version without closing the window and relaunching. Once again, to have the current status repopulate Configurator at any time, press the Info button. Now that I'm on the latest firmware version, I want to look at what else I have available to me in the ProCommander Configurator window. Under the Show Controls tab, I'll be able to get a show list of any information that is provided on the SD card. I can get a current running show status, in this case there is no show, or I can start any show number or stop a currently running or all running shows on the ProCommander itself. In the Audio tab, I can set master volume, bass, treble, and the amplifier gain. Please note the amplifier ships at a gain of 1 and is available to adjust all the way up to an amplifier gain of 4. At an amplifier gain of 3 or 4, you may experience distortion and compression artifacts. The next tab we'll want to look at is the DMX Controls tab. Many of the features included in this tab are for advanced users, and if you are not using DMX in an atypical fashion in your application, you may want to skip this section. Each Waggle ProCommander and the DMX Pro IO ship with a DMX merger included. The ProCommander ES and certain LTC models are excluded from this claim. Within the DMX merge, you can have LTP, HTTP, change, add, combine, or a show priority mode, which allows the SD card to take priority over inbound DMX values. You also have a specified start or end channel for what this DMX merge actually will affect. The DMX Mapping tab is a very unique feature to the Waggle hardware. Once enabled, you can not only specify an analog or digital start channel, but you can also specify an ease-in trigger channel. What this means is that if a value drops below 50% on this ease-in trigger channel, all DMX red values will ease in to their next value in the event you are using a wireless DMX or ArtNet connection. Additionally, we have a DMX frame rate and byte delay setting, which is particularly useful for DMX-based animation systems as well as low-end LED fixtures. Finally, DMX test sliders are provided for any of the values between 1 and 512. Next, we can click over to the Input and Output tab. Here, we can select and toggle on and off any of the outputs that are being used in this show. For the Pro Commander 2, we have 16 digital outputs, 16 digital inputs, 4 traditional 0 to 10 analog outputs, and 4 PWM servos. Within this window as well, we can not only test the actual output of the analog or servo functions, but we can set a minimum and maximum level. For example, if I only had range of motion at roughly 17% to roughly 64%, pressing these min and max when set and viewable in real time now shifts my 0 to 100% programmable range between the 1700 and 6400 12-bit range values. SMPTE LTC timecode is available on the Pro Commander PHX, Pro Commander LTC, and as read-only on the Pro Commander 2 with additional hardware. To enable this, connect timecode to the RCA, serial, or UDP connection point on the Pro Commander and check Enable Timecode. You'll see in this window that you also have the option to specify a numeric value for the timecode timeout. This value, if not otherwise specified in the timeline, will tell the Pro Commander when to stop listening to timecode and switch back over to the internal clock. On the Serial Port tab, you'll have the ability to configure the baud rate for ports 1, 2, and 3. Please note that these are also set in the daisy chain mode as well as the daisy chain baud rates and may be affected by external driver control. The last tab I want to look at is the Variable Real-Time Monitor panel. Disabled by default, checking this checkbox will enable a 1-second refresh of all the variables that are available on the Pro Commander unit. Please note this applies to all Pro Commander series units as well as the Pro I/O remote. Here we'll see variables 1 through 70, which are RAM variables and reset on power up to 0, and variables 71 through 100, which are EEPROM variables that are stored indefinitely. These are listed by number or name if the optional file format is configured for named variables. Finally, if all else fails and your Pro Commander is not functioning as expected, you can always check the Factory Defaults button on the main page. By doing so and hitting OK, you will reset the Pro Commander to the factory defaults. In our case, we can simply now just hit Info and see that everything was the way we had it. This Pro Commander was configured out of the box to the factory settings, and therefore we see no change. This concludes the basic overview for configuring a Pro Commander or Pro I/O device within the Wagle Hardware Configurator. Please refer to additional training tutorials and written documentation at faq.wagle.support for more information.